Hello, hero. It's Lucy Lannon. It took a lot to get to you today. Okay, so today we are using my most wholesome deck, which is the Jim Henson Mega Deck, the Cartomancy, with Labyrinth and Dark Crystal playing cards involved. This is to get extra clarification for me. It is also because the Jim Henson deck is representative of my love for the man, and indeed one of the most wholesome energies that my decks have, other than the Bob Ross deck. It also speaks to a reading I had from, I think she's called Bronwyn's Cave. Oh, we've lost one, man down. Which was a public reading discussing some very personal stuff that had been put on me in terms of evil eye, jealousy work, curse work, blocking a certain connection from another person, using a certain tool which I'd known was a thing in my house and I've now gotten rid of. But, you know, if Bronwyn's Cave ever stumbles on this, thank you. I just removed an object that had been used against me, thanks to your reading. But it happens when you're in this sort of industry, man, you know. And particularly when you hang around with fishy people, or the people you hang around with fishy people. Anyway, all of that is to say that while I was understanding these things on a personal level and doing the kind of cleansing work and getting rid of objects and neutralizations that needed to happen with, frankly, beginner energy, but whatever, I also, in that reading, heard some global stuff and like researched what was going on there, and there was sort of secrecy around certain things, dodgy things going on that I didn't know about in a broader, I don't even want to say political sense, but just a broader picture kind of a sense. And I immediately wanted to do a reading about secrecy pertaining to world events, at which point I dropped my phone down the toilet. It was like I had the thought of like, oh, I want to do some exposing on my own because I have my own take on this. And then as soon as that happened, my camera, hello, was immediately dunked, and I'd gotten up early in order to be able to do a few readings today. So it was particularly difficult when that opportunity was crossed out, almost because somebody didn't want me to speak. So rather than concentrate on any of that, you can scour her channel for what I'm on about there. And boy, is it interesting. And yes, I do have a take on it, but clearly I'm not meant to speak about that yet. Or I kind of don't want to invite anything by talking about it yet, or by passing on what was said about it to me, just because when I did, my phone was immediately sabotaged. And a couple of other things in the house kind of went wrong today as well. And I was thinking, you're not going to keep me from speaking. Right, you're not going to keep me from coming on here. I don't care what you don't want me to tell people. All, 30 odd of you that are currently subscribed, please subscribe down below. So yeah, we're not going to do that, but I am going to do a reading about a secret that wants to be revealed. And if it's related to that, great stuff. If it's not related to that, then, maybe you just needed to hear that, because you're going to go to that other channel and find something useful on a different reading from it. Because I was doing my thing where I do a kind of lucky dip when I want to read for myself, but I'm too close to it. Because I knew I was having some stuff coming in at night, and as much as it was manageable, I was like, why is this always happening at 3 a.m? So I went for answers, and I got answers, and I dealt with the problem. And if the problem is watching, don't try it again. The mirrors that you use will become your worst enemy. Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to be like threatening. I'm not really like that on this channel, but it just bears saying, just because I know that I haven't been watched by all kinds of people as well. So, preamble over with. We are going to look into a secret that wants to be revealed. I don't know whether this is being kept by one person, a group of people. You do you. I'm going to sit back a little bit and just get a bit more comfy. Now I'm not on edge, and now I know my phone's okay. There's incense going on. There's all sorts of cleansing stuff that's been happening in the room. And it is now the fucking evening. But actually, this was the best way that things could have gone, because I've gotten rid of... I spotted a fly today, right? That's always a good thing. So... tapping into your energy. What is a secret that wants to be revealed? Calling on my goblins, calling on my podlings, calling on my fairies, calling on the spirit of Jim. What do we want to know? Instantly my heart opened up when I thought of Jim, and that does happen, but I think that this is a love-ish reading because heart chakra just went and I heard the if any of you are Jack Stauber fans, I don't know how you say it, but that wonderful short film of his, Opal, where she's gazing to the house opposite and all the sort of fabric comes out the window and there's that beautiful song that I can't even do the noise, but it's like oh, it's just divine. I love his soundtracks. And it communicates all that longing, and I feel like longing is a thing, heart chakra is a thing. I mean, it may even be familial because that's what Opal's about. You may really relate to that film. I'll put it in the link in the description, in case you do relate to kind of tricky familial dynamics, narcissism, dissociation, things like that, because it's a really beautiful way of expressing those things. But our first card is Sarah squeezing the nose of the door knocker in a way that makes me think of everything today, and it's Two of Swords. So, as much as this is a secret that doesn't want to be revealed, I feel that you or your particular team of guides or whatever it is that you believe in are kind of stopping somebody's path to doing something to do with you by suffocating or cutting off a certain bit of some of their life. For some of you, you're having problems in your health to do with cutting off, to do with stopping, to do with bleeding and things like that. It's not for you if you don't already know that that's happening. I'm not medically qualified for anything. This reading is for entertainment only, yada yada. But there's something about like stopping breathing, stopping bleeding, stopping in its tracks, or you turning your energy, or your higher self turning its energy to stopping somebody by blocking the flow of something that was the way that they were doing it. And that's why I'm thinking of everything that happened today, because, you know, as is often the case with sort of very beginner witchcraft, if you remove the object that they're concentrating this stuff into, or remove the things that they know you do in the house and kind of deal with them energetically, the whole process is blocked off because that was their avenue for it. And I mean, I did cleansing work around that. I did repercussion work around that. So, you know, if she tries it with anything else, it'll still set off. But it's interesting that that's kind of come up in two places, right? And there's something here about you wanting an opportunity because it's Sarah knocking on the door. She has to, if you haven't seen Labyrinth, it's like a goblin door knocker, and she has to squeeze its nose to make it want to mouth breathe so that she can remove the knocker from its mouth, so that she can knock in the right place to get through. I think that's what it is. So there's something about being allowed permission to pass to the next stage with something by diverting somebody's attention or stopping a process that they were doing, in order that something they kind of have to do, like breathe, happens, and then you sort of get in a different way. I hope all this is making sense, but it will become clearer as I go because we're only on card one. Also, the fact that we lost so many cards at the beginning of the reading while I was just talking about circumstance and stuff is like, you've already had losses because of whatever circumstance this is. So already we've got a heart chakra opening, we've got possible familial links, and we've got you've had losses in this area of life, so that may narrow it down. Then we've got a Queen of Pentacles, which is Sarah again at the Goblin Ball. Now, Two of Swords with Queen of Pentacles. Indecision, but not on your part. It's almost like this person doesn't know what avenue to go down next, because what I'm hearing is they've been trying you in one way, and then they've had to switch and immediately do something different because you've blocked the flow of something, or something you've chosen to do that they didn't anticipate has kind of stopped them in their tracks, and they've gone, shit, I can't use that anymore. For some of you, it's a person where like you've cut off from someone, or they expected you to meet up with a certain friend or something like that, and they're like, shit, that was my way in, that was my avenue, that was... If you are dealing with narcissism, again, not classifying anybody, I'm not a medical practitioner, you may not know a narcissist at all, many of us don't, it's quite a rare thing. But if there is a dynamic of triangulation or anything like that, triangulation, sorry, this is like you being unable to tap into that third person that they had as a flying monkey. Or not being unable, but you choosing not to contact that person, and they'd set up circumstances to work around that person or to work around you doing a certain thing. I'm hearing for some of you logging into a certain thing or having a certain conversation with someone. And now that's not happening anymore. And again, I don't, as much as I mention magic and curse work as a backdrop to how this reading began, because for some of you it's a useful story, I don't think this is as extreme as that. I think this is, it's not that it's not extreme, it's happening in a different way. It's not anything to be afraid about if you're not in those realms, and if you don't have practitioner friends or friends who think they're practitioners in my case. I want to say friends, I don't even know her, I've literally never met her. But anyway, there's like, it's more of something to do with the voice, to do with practical circumstance. You know, we've got swords and pentacles. It wouldn't surprise me if this affects money or affects reputation or hearsay or something sort of along those lines. Am I going to pick you up? Yeah, I am. Right, excuse us, I'm very strange vision from the back where I've pinned this because I didn't expect to bend over in this reading. Then we've got a 5 of Swords with Jareth, the Goblin King. Jared is also a significant name for this reading. So you may be a Jareth, Jared, you may know one. You may even know a David, or it may be a David, because David Bowie. David and Jennifer as well. How does this relate back? 8 of Wands, and we've got Kira. So this is the first Dark Crystal card, which tells me this bit is separate. It's a different situation, a different person. Clarifies that this David character is separate from the circumstance that you were meant to be triangulated in, yet somehow related. Now, why would Kira be coming in with this? It's to do with language, it's to do with speech. Oh, she's telling me about the song. Okay, so when I was setting up for this, I was channeling, who is it? Guided by Voices, Woe Nelly. And the lyrics, I'm not going to sing it, but the lyrics are, Whoa Nelly, slow down and be cool. Whoa Nelly, don't drink like a fool. So there may be an alcohol involved in this, or this may be telling somebody in the situation to temper their actions, or to take things at a slower pace, or not do something impulsive under the influence of alcohol. That's what I'm being told by it being Kira. Now, as to it being 5 of Swords with the 8 of Wands, somebody seemingly separate from this has had a fight. Why 8 of Wands though? To do with some kind of impulsive action or messaging coming in. Right, let's get clear on this and then we're both on the same page, because I'm all over the place here. So somebody's been trying to triangulate you in some way, or set up a situation where you were the fall guy, and that's the secret. You have kind of seen or sensed this coming in some way, or you may have had nudges from your guides to like avoid, say, a certain meetup or a certain place, or even just to stay away from a certain person for the time being. And that's meant that the only avenue that this triangulating or orchestrating person could go down with this has been kind of crossed out for you, and you're in your Queen of Pence, any gender, so you're kind of in your power and you've regained normality. You may even have been in a more sort of creative space or a dream world space instead of doing whatever this is, if that narrows it down to like when it was, because she's in the dream, or in the dream that Jareth created. Then you've got somebody, possibly a masculine, possibly with a name like Jared, Jareth, or David, who has had an argument with somebody, maybe over like a text or DM or something instantly coming in, that is somehow related to this situation but doesn't involve your triangulator. Let's get more, shall we? Okay, 9 of Pentacles. That's interesting. So the signifier for you seems to be Sarah from the Labyrinth. And 9 of Pentacles is very single energy. It's very like in your shmoney, living a kind of luxurious life or soft life kind of energy. And then we've got a 6 of Wands with someone who is allied to you, or several people who are, because it's, I forget his name. What's his name? I love this movie and I can't think of it. But anyway, they're friends with Sarah. And that's on the side of this David character or singer or someone who fell out with the other person. So this is that you have allies, but you are in a more single space. And again, I did talk about heart chakra. So if this isn't familial, this is to do with you becoming single because you fell out with someone. And you have allies that see that situation clearly. But I don't think that they're connected with who you fell out with. Or who they fell out with, if it's a they, right? Your trusteds on this may even be guides if you don't identify with someone in the real world having your back right now. But they're not connected to the person who was fallen out with, I want to say. Can we get more info on like who this triangulated person was meant to be? So we've got Sarah again, which is you, and then we've got the Fire Gang, and it's the 3 of Swords. So 3 of Swords tells me that you were in a heartbroken space over something. Doesn't have to be romantic. It can be you lost a job, or you had a disappointing match, or something had sort of bummed you out that day. And the people that you were meant to triangulate with were fun-loving party friends. What's that phrase? Like fair weather friends that you usually kind of drink with or relax with when you're in that mode of not doing so okay. And you decided, I think, to come home and do something different rather than go out with them. And that's how you avoided whatever this setup was. So that should tell you more about who's orchestrating it as well. Although we will get more on that. Let's get more on that now, shall we? Jen, okay. Right, so I hope you're following all this because it's getting complex, but I really feel like this message needs to be relayed. The 8 of Wands person, the person who fell out with, let's call them the Goblin King person, right? So this person who fell out with this guy, or masculine-ish, any gender, but in the masculine mode person, their partner or someone who wants to be their partner, someone who's crushing on them, someone who's had a history with them, is the person who was setting up this triangulation situation with you, right? Now, with it being a 4 of Pentacles, that also tells me that they're not willing to give love or money, or either this person is characteristically quite selfish, so they don't give of themselves very much anyway, or in their relationship to this person we'll call Kira, the Woe Nelly song person, they haven't expressed that they want to be their partner or that they want to get back together or something like that, right? So, okay, so the person who set up whatever this triangulation was that didn't work on you is someone who has a history or has a crush on or something to do with the Kira person, and they fell out over DM with somebody else and this is somehow all related. How is it related, Spirit? It's getting really light in depth, isn't it? Okay, let's have you, and this one felt good. Let's have that one. We've got our first Skeksis. That's interesting. So we've got a 4 of Wands. This pertained in some way to stability, to a home, to an environment of home life. If you were drawn to my recent reading, I want to say yesterday or the day before, depending on when this goes out, but my reading about your home environment and whether in fact it's a sanctuary or not, this is all to do with that relationship that we were on about, right? So either you're living with someone and you're dissatisfied with it, or you suddenly realised you want to live with someone because you'd feel more at home if they were a regular part of your life. And it's all to do with that. That's why you were being set up. That's why secrets were being kept from you. It's why, like, somebody else in your life that's got a crush on a relevant person was fucking shit up. This is actually all fairly relevant to the situation I found myself in today, but just in a way that can't be confirmed or denied as of yet. And then we've got you coming up again in the Queen of Wands energy, which is usually kind of a sexual or happy vibe, but look at Sarah's face. So there is some disruption, I want to say, to your sexuality or to the way that you express yourself in relationships. Going back to when I said that this could equally be a familial reading and not like a sort of triangle thing. If you're being set up by family and you've got like one person talking to another person, one person falling out with another, an awkward assembly might be another useful reading for you, I'll link it. All of that is going to affect your sexuality, even if it's not in a sexual sphere, because the energy of it is so intense that your sacral is kind of bombarded. Remember that your sacral is like one up from where your root is. So to have something, I'm seeing someone sticking the wrong end of a wooden spoon into a soup and just kind of going like that with it. It's like stirrer on hype beast mode, you know, it's like, it's really intense. It's not just we're stirring stuff or stirring the pot, it's we're stabbing it, going like this and just messing everything up. That's actually the energy of this person symbolised with this one who tried to set the whole thing up in the first place. They're very erratic right now. That's why a Skeksis has come out, because they're the evil people in this deck. Not that anyone's evil, but, you know, the most kind of malignant energy at the moment is this person. Then we've got you feeling unhappy in the sexual, in the pleasure-centred, in the am I okay kind of realm of your body, mainly because someone has done that to your sense of home, your sense of family, your sense of belonging, your sense of what's up. Because I feel as well, with the set-up person being on your side, they may be more of like one of your trusted lot than whoever it is that's fallen out with someone and that's sort of caused all this, if that makes sense. I always feel a big affection for Kira whenever she turns up, the singing one. But in the way that these cards have come out, she's more distant to you somehow than this person who's sticking the roar in. And I do feel that this person is connected to, shall we say, your fair weather friends, symbolised by the fire gang, because they wouldn't have been able to set up a triangulation situation of like wanting to embarrass you or wanting to like tell people a false truth about you and then see what they say in front of you or something like that. They wouldn't have had access to those people, right? But I'm not sure they have access to these two people falling out. So what's that got to do with anything? I'm really sorry if this is like dead confusing, guys. I'm trying to get my head around it myself. It makes sense in the situation I'm seeing in my head, but whether it's mapping out okay to you guys is another story. So let me know in the comments if it is resonating. Not just because the algo needs it, hey, always good, but also because like I want to make sure everyone's following along here and sort of answer any questions if you're not. Because in the end, my readings are there to help you. This is why I put out free content. So if you're not understanding like who's who in this, hit me up and I'll try and be clearer in a comment, and then we can actually get to a point of this reading where like you understand how all the pawns are moving. Interesting that I said pawns are moving because this is very strategic. For those who saw the reading the other day where I referenced The Glory, I can't think of the game that they play in that, but it's very like chess. It's like a Korean sort of version of chess. And it feels like that. It's very like this goes here and this goes here. And 10 moves ahead, I can set this person up for a fall using these people because of this thing that happened 3 back and 5 across, you know. Whew. Do not like it, but let's go forward. Okay, so we have our first reversal. That's interesting. This is a 2 of Swords, and it depicts Aughra talking to Jen, who who is the signifier for the person who sets things up, over... You know how I said magic probably isn't involved? Well, with Augur coming in, that's a communication with spirit from the person who set you up. So, this can mean either I'm going back on my word and indeed the mission of the channel, and I am talking about people doing low-level magic on each other, or trying to, should I say. It might not work. Or this person will be known to you because also they are in touch with their guides, right? Or they have a spiritual awareness. So if it's not that this person is trying to set you up and doing some magical work on you, and for at least one of you watching, I think that is the case because I'm feeling a vibe of who this is. But if it's not that, the Augur figure here represents prayer to a higher power, or conversation with spirit, or communication in that magical kind of way or realm. And as I'm saying that, my throat chakra's going, so it's kind of, you know, it's a bit iffy there. So this person may identify within spiritual circles or religious circles, because it is a prayer vibe as well. So, you know, churches, mosques, whatever. And that's just like another way to identify it, but it's not. How's that related? Is that related to Kira? Is that what's been going on? Yeah, in the sense that, look at all these Skeksis. 5 of Cups and a Skeksis gathering. So that's a gathering of people who don't have good intentions for other people. That's not to say they're evil. It's not to say this reading should terrify you. It's just to say there's been a kind of sewing circle of bitchy ass people recently, and this was discussed, and that's kind of how it came about. But the focus of that sewing circle wasn't actually the orchestrator of this. It was a conversation about Kira, who we will say is the person who fell out with someone over DM. My feeling in all of this is actually that, as well as Sarah in this, Jareth or Jared or David is signifying you, or someone very close to you. Because someone fell out with them. That fallout was the topic of a conversation somehow of people who don't have your interests at heart. And then from that conversation, somebody in that group was able to take it away, perhaps pray to something or make a deal with something or whatever, and then like try to set you up for a fall in a social way. But it didn't work because you didn't go that night to your fair weather friends because you were feeling heartbroken over something. It's come together. I really hope this is resonating because it's so tangled. Please let me know in the comments if it does. Please, 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 I beg you. And if it doesn't, rather than just hitting dislike or whatever, I mean, that helps the algo too, frankly, but I would like to know like what's missing from your picture or whatever so that I can become a better reader, right? Because I'm used to reading in person where I can get a bit of back and forth on whether I'm on the right track. And obviously reading online like this is a different kettle of fish that I've only been doing a couple of years. So do let me know, as I say, if you need more detail. Right, so this secret is being revealed. Can you tell me the nature of like what the Two of Swords triangulation, what the indecision and the sort of, oh, it didn't quite work thing meant to do to you? So we got a 2 of Cups. Interesting. It's to do with breaking bonds again, splitting best friends apart, splitting possible romantic interests apart. And then again, we've got a gathering of Skeksis in the imagery, this time in the Emperor's Chamber, which tells me that somebody involved is an authority figure, a boss, a parent, someone with a lot of power locally, something like that, because we wouldn't be having like Skeksis Emperors. We would be having maybe the Fire Gang or something like that that's already come up. So this was meant to keep you from somebody else, or meant to piss someone off. A few different things, but I'm going to suggest some in case any of them hit. This could be that someone in your fair weather friendship group is someone you have a real bond with, and the orchestrator, shall we call them, wanted to split you up with that person. So they'd set it up to happen that night. They'd told this person some misinformation about you, or they'd told them to ask about something which they knew would be a trigger for a reason you don't know, or something like that, in order to make you fall out. And again, it didn't work because you didn't go because you were sad. Or, you'd been bummed out that day or pissed off or whatever. Another possible thing is that this fire gang, this group of fair weather friends, or people you get drunk with, or people you party with, or whatever, are very close to this person who set it all up, and on their side about you not getting with somebody. And remember, I said the person who set it up has an interest in the Kira figure. So if you also have an interest in the Kira figure, and you'd had a recent falling out with them, probably over DM, because it's swift movement, then this was all set up to steer you away from ever being involved with that person again. It's like this person thought that by talking to them beforehand and then inviting you out for beers or whatever it is, they could get the whole gang to talk shit about this other person, or persuade you that you were better off without that, or that something bigger had happened than actually had, or something like that. And again, it didn't work because in some way you didn't fully involve yourself with this group that night. Or it could be day, but I'm hearing night. So it's like, even if they've done this in a different way, which might be part of the secret, the night that they meant for it to all really kick off, it didn't work out. Possibly even because you'd already fallen out with this person, and that's why you didn't go. If you were feeling tender about another situation, then you were kind of saved from this one, I want to say. Six of Pentacles, which is about reciprocity. And then this image of Kira, which is very troubling. Also links back very well to the Bronwyn's Cave reading, because she talked about the imagery of podlings being drained of their essence and energy, being analogous to other stuff, that was great confirmation for me, because I've had this Henson deck for years and I've always sort of seen that draining of essence in the same way. So again, thank you if you're watching, or if you stumble on this. But for this, it's Kira being drained, right? So these not so nice figures that came together and sort of started to organise this have stake in the person that sort of fell out with you, I want to say you, being drained energetically, if this is a magical thing, or in terms of their self-esteem, if it's not, being made powerless to the extent that they can no longer be in your world. Or to the extent that, because her eyes have gone glassy in this, and that's always the bit that terrified me as a kid. It's like she's not there anymore, but she is. And I even looked at the wrong part of the camera then to emphasise that point, right? She's not there anymore, but she is. It's like they wanted to make someone behave uncharacteristically to further this whole thing of like, if we can cut them two off from each other, then Jen can have this person, or have power over this person, for some of you. If it's a familial thing, or if it's not sexual or romantic or whatever. It's like, once we've severed this tie, and once we've encouraged the group to reinforce that decision, it's going to be easy. I'm hearing ease peas. It's going to be super easy for this person this orchestrator, to have power over this other person that you fell out with, and also sort of make whatever they want to happen there happen. And I don't think that's good for you either, because you're far away. There's something about reciprocity. There's something about, this could be payback. This could be a group of people talking about one person taking revenge. perhaps for being spurned or blocked or rejected because of this thing of like the Gen orchestrator character having almost like romantic feelings for the other one. But there's a thing of like, now we're in control. If we can just, if we can knock her down a peg or two. And it doesn't have to be a her, right? Gender is very fluid on this channel, so take what resonates for each of these things. But it's like if we can really get at this person's self-esteem by splitting you off from them, but also reinforcing that decision, and maybe even humiliating you within your own group or disempowering you within your own group, then we have power over that dynamic and both of the people in it. This is very sus. So why is Spirit telling you? And by that I mean, how can we take a shitty reading and turn it like today into an empowering thing or a way that you can take action? Like, what is the purpose in the sort of broader, Saturnian or Chironic sense of you knowing this information? Why am I being told to tell you? We've got a vision of the orchestrator again. And I hate to make Jen the signifier of that because I love Jen's character, but anyway. And it's a J for Jen, right? Or for any other J name. Take it as it resonates. And it's a Knight of Wands. And he's healing the crystals. He's bringing... 2 seconds, guys. I didn't mean to draw one then. Right, we're getting that as well then, are we? We'll come to them in a minute. Why is it the Knight of Wands? This person sorting all this out, they're ruled by their impulses. They're... I think they come across as being outwardly steady because Jen is. He's creative, he's musical, he's very attractive looking within the sort of Gelfling race. It's a beautiful puppet. Sorry if you've never seen this film. He's very sort of in touch with the community. He's very steady. But with the Knight of Wands coming out and with everything else in this reading, that's a veneer. That's the mask for this person. And they're actually impulsive, hot-headed, entitled, ungenerous, potentially, take it as it resonates, hypersexual, and not loyal at all to anyone unless it serves their needs. So they're capable of long-term loyalty if they're getting something out of it, but it's kind of like the second they're not, they'll leave you in the dirt. So that's why that. But why is he healing the crystal, guys? Check your cards. So we have a Four of Swords with more Skeksis on, more people having the bloody sewing circle with snippy little back talk. And then we've got a Seven of Wands with Jen and his advisor, which again could be like, because it's one of the Uru, it's another spiritual figure. So this could, like with the Ogre card, this could be this person praying, seeking advice from a spiritual leader, seeking advice from somebody under the guise of spirituality in order to persuade that person of something, I'm hearing. The way that these people chill out is to talk about other people's business. Because we've got a Four of Swords, which is sometimes relaxation, meditation, retreating into trance, etc. for good purposes. But we've got it with Skeksis talking in the hallways. And I'm hearing the echoes of the hallways, like it's all, one thing's said and then it echoes differently down the hall and it reaches another ear in an entirely different form. It's like as things are being relayed down and down and down, they lose all meaning. It's a gossipy, nasty feeling. And then this person that's the religious figure, why is he trying to... Hold up. Oh, okay. That does make perfect sense now. Now you said that, right. So this is Jen healing the crystal. It's the objective of the movie. It's also something that kind of heals everything in Thra, in the land that it's set. It's like a unification of good and evil within religious paradigm to create a third, more cosmically true thing that, you know, heals that which has been broken. And then we've got this same person at the beginning of that story seeking to go on the quest to do this stuff and seeking advice from, as I say, someone who might be a religious figure or might have strong religious beliefs, or in some cases persuading someone with strong religious beliefs to back them on this. My feeling about this, especially having talked about triangulation, cluster B personality stuff about someone having a crush on someone else and then trying to split them off from someone in order to like further their own gains, which are very impulsive and very entitled and very like self-focused. Really, the crystal that needs healing, or the thing that was the goal of this person overall in this, that has led to all of this stuff with all these different factions of people, in the end is they feel there's a part of them missing, and they think if they can thrust this shard, this aspect of what they've found in one of these relationships into themselves, suddenly the whole world will be healed, suddenly the land will come together. Suddenly, if they solve the problem of this external person saying no to them or interfering in some way, preventing them from a connection, or like just being a distraction for attention, like being a source of other people's adoration where they feel entitled that they should be. If they can fix that, they think it'll fix everything. That's what it's saying. And obviously, well, hopefully, obviously, if you're on this channel, we know that that sort of shit, aside from being truly, you know, Machiavellian bullshit, is also not a quick fix. It's not. You can't heal not yet completed shadow work by influencing the external in a way that takes no look at the self whatsoever. You can't replace a missing part of the self or a hole in the self, a vacuum, a void for other things to get sucked into by filling it with a person or a group of attention, or, you know, something sort of external to you. You just can't. And I don't know why I'm telling you that, because you kind of know, but I feel like I need to say it in case there's cross-watchers or whatever the hell is going on my channel. But there's this sense of like, oh, this will fill the void. If I can just convince this person to stay away from this person, and I can rally all the troops behind me, and I can convince this person with a religious background to support me, and I can put all of this under the guise of it being my own fucking spiritual journey, even though actually it's about my entitlement, then everything will fix and I won't feel, what am I hearing? Exhausted, tired, lonely, fake, false, empty, like I have to perform identity, like I have to copy other people, like I have to be by somebody's side in a particular way in order to feel whole, like I have to fuck to be able to feel, like I have to harm to be able to feel, or indeed like everything up to this point has been a lie. So I don't feel bad for this person, because those are all the things they might be feeling, and that's quite a lot. But the secret that needed to be revealed is that because of those feelings, they tried to set you up. They knew that you'd had a conflict with someone else in your life that they have a keen eye on. And on, I want to say on the night that that happened, or around the time that that happened, they set it up with some of your fair weather or more party-based friends, relaxed relaxation-based friends, or just like your more informal crowd, that you would turn up at a specific place and either you'd get pissed off with one of them and that'd make you feel even worse and they could control everything, or that group would reinforce your decision to step away from a person or their decision to step away from you and be like, this is the best thing that could have happened, let's all just get drunk together. And somehow that means that this person who set it up would win. But the victory is hollow because you can't get to the place of fixing any of those things without looking in a fucking mirror. And I'm annoyed that I even have to say it. But again, I don't know whether I'm saying it for you because I don't know who my audience is really. This person may have even used mirrors because that was something that came up in the reading that influenced me doing this reading today. And one of the things that I did was to sort out my own mirror, cleanse it, and also make sure that when this person looks into a mirror with the intention of sending something to me, the mirror reflects back to them anything they're sending out, right, from now on. With love and light, you know. But it's not, you know, as I covered in my enemy reading, it's not a curse to say that if someone has ill will, may they be in an echo chamber or a hall of mirrors, may it never come my way, right? Because then if that person isn't sending out anything negative, then they won't experience anything negative. And it's not quite the same as a return to sender, it's a more long-term thing. It's more like each time you try to do this, you will feel it, because that teaches them not to do it. It's a return to sender is like they send something your way, it's big and bad, it doesn't work, but it comes back to them in full force. They can put that down to a circumstance of their lives. They can say, oh, isn't it unfortunate that I fell off a table, had a load of wasps come into my room at 4 a.m. as I'd been casting on someone, etc. And they can blame it on that one event. But when you do a hall of mirror type thing, even just by praying, even just by asking angels, etc., particularly Michael, what happens is that each time they do it, they experience it in kind, almost like a threefold rule. If that was, I mean, I don't believe that's the thing, but you might, I don't know. But if that was more of a straightforward thing to experience, shall we say. And in doing that, it's like each time they try and chew the sofa, they get the tss in their face and they start to learn, you know? And it's a different thing. And that I'm not in the mode of encouraging people to take vengeance or to be like, you know, to identify as some sort of force of spiritual repercussion on this planet. I think that's just as unhealthy. It's just as much tied up with identity and entitlement and all the rest of it. But what I am saying is that in an analogous way, if somebody's come for you and they can be shown repeatedly that it doesn't work, that's better than the one time. Or even if you can go to them having seen this reading and say, you know, isn't it funny? I was meant to come and meet you guys on such and such a night, you know, the fire gang, etc. And I just had this like nudge as if something was like protecting me or something, and I just didn't go. And I think about that moment a lot and like wonder what would have happened if I went. And just to say it as an offhand jokey thing lets that person know if there was anything going on, right? And it's a good way to deal with it because they will think twice about setting that up in that same way again, knowing that you are protected. If you are of a magical ilk, if you are of a spiritual paradigm, please make sure you're protecting, that you're doing your salt baths, that you're fumigating the area, that you're doing your chanting, you're banging of pan lids in corners, you're leaving of crystals in certain grids, etc. Whatever you do, right? A good practice is to keep an ancestral altar or a deific altar and just keep offering to it all the time, whether or not you're asking for anything, because then when you need to call in a favour, you will have a team ready, right? But if none of that resonates to you and I'm just sort of speaking more metaphorically to those things for your particular set of circumstances, then I'm saying it because it's analogous to keeping your friends sweet, keeping your family sweet, making sure that you're not speaking out of turn with people who in the end would probably come to your defence should anything untoward go on, and making sure that in everything you say, even if you can't be straightforward without offending or without, slighting somebody who's in a bit of that dodgy energy, that you are still speaking the truth, even if it's the truth with a mission, right? So you might not say directly to this Knight of Wands type orchestrator character, I know what you fucking did, because that's a bad idea, right? But what you might do is to say, it's like something saved me that night from something, who knows what. Isn't that funny? Or you might say, I'm so grateful for my friends. They would never, no, right? Or you might tell the truth about your life, and if you've reconciled with this person you fell out with, which for some of you I'm hearing is true or will be true, you tell this orchestrator person everything about your day except that. So you're not lying, but you're also not giving them more ammunition to cause more problems, right? What is the greater purpose of this reading, spiritual purpose, the message that we want to, Jerry's final thought on? I'm going to take 3 for this. These 2? No, it's that one. No. Okay. Sorry, it's a long one, guys, but this has been a very complex situation. We've got Jen as a King of Pentacles. In the end, I feel that this person who's done all this will follow the money. They'll follow their nose, they'll follow their sexual, monetary, and status entitlement to something more exciting, right? I just feel that's the way they're made. So I think one of the messages to leave with is like, yes, this has been revealed, yes, this all happened, but I wouldn't be too worried about this person following up on it, because either they feel like a bit of narcissistic injury that it didn't quite work out the way they thought, and maybe they're not. I'm hearing maybe they're not thrown, like they're not all powerful after all, they're not the strategists they thought they were, so they're a bit like, ugh, you're all beneath me anyway, and they're going to kind of move on in that sense. Or they just got bored because things weren't working their way, so they're going to be distracted by something new, something shiny, something with more cash to flash, something more sexually appealing, something more compelling in the sense that they feel like they have power over it and they don't have to work quite as hard with it. So they're going to be out of your hair. Then we've got Sarah, which signifies you in this reading, and a 2 of Cups. So if there's something in this where you did fall out with maybe one of the fire gang people, or you fell out with this Kira person and you're now realizing that was a dodgy thing and that you actually want them back because there was a relationship or a deep best friendship that you want to reconcile or fix, or something like that, that's going to happen, or if it's not already happened. And a 2 of Cups is like a lovely collaborative energy, so it suggests to me that you guys are going to be working together in the future, maybe even to mend other fences or other burned bridges being rebuilt. Like you guys are going to be a force to make other people come together in a kinder way, because you've seen what unkindness looks like from this situation, and you've distinguished the markers of unkind people and the kind of red flags of those people from the markers of people who tend to be genuine, tend to be kind. My feeling actually is that both of you have been on very different journeys coming to these same kinds of conclusions about how it is that you pick your friends, or how it is that you involve yourself with certain family members and sort of steer clear in a compassionate way from others. It's like you've both had a secret revealed, you've both had a betrayal in some way, and in coming together and being sort of besties again, or whatever you are, siblings I'm hearing for some of you, you are more prepared to disseminate to the world the message of how cooperation can work, so that fewer people feel like they have to orchestrate through friends, through family, through relationships to gain power. It's almost like your greater mission with another person that was like trying to be blocked by this is to show other people how to work together in a way that's just always harmonious, always beautiful. It's such a lovely energy. And Sarah in this card is turning around, and I know from the movie that she's turning to look at Ludo, who, I mean, his catchphrase is Sarah, friend. Like, he can barely say anything else except, you're my friend, you're my friend. And he's incredibly protective. He's in touch with his environment. You know, he can call the rocks. He's big and kind of strong, so that might resonate for some of you. But there's this bond between them where almost his every expression in whatever his love language is, or whatever your person's love language is to be like, you are my friend. And to really fucking mean it. And that's nice. It's just such a different energy from this other stuff that may have been appealing, but it was in the end sort of founded on pleasure centres and dopamine and serotonin and getting a hit of something when you're out together and getting one over on each other and making sure that you're in with each other's crowds in a sort of way that's a bit like, well, just be in with me, it's fine, just be honest, it's fine, you know, it's a bit icky. Then we've got Nine of Swords with this interesting image of Jen cradling Kira as she dies, spoilers. If this person was doing this to get closer to whoever this is that was in the fallout, or whoever this is that they wanted to drain the essence from, or to brainwash, or to have control over in some way, they're going to be dead to them, right? And it's funny because the way that I would read this energy if I was looking at the rest of the cards is that from the Kira person's perspective, this person who's tried to set all this up will be dead to them because they realise, probably they realised sooner than you did, what's been going on here. But actually what the card says is the flip of that, which is that to the orchestrator of all this nonsense, this extra person is dead to them. They're no longer in pursuit. They've been rejected. They've felt the injury of that. And they're like, oh, fuck you all then. In a way that echoes the earlier notion that actually this person will get bored. They'll get tired of all of you. If you and this other person are the friendship that's referred to here, they will see you together and sort of be doing kind of, you know, and being really obnoxious about it and being really like, oh God. And then they'll make themselves scarce and problem solved, right? And I think that actually hides a bit of a mourning in this person that they couldn't have the upper hand. They couldn't take control over all this. They couldn't puppeteer people. It's been an entire reading with a puppetry deck and I only just got that. Sometimes I'm truly dense, I'm sorry guys. Yeah, it's like puppets on a string, right? And it's literally depicting puppets on a string. And you have been signified in two places by human characters. So you're not involved in this puppetry. You're immune to it. Sorry, that's so succinct, and yet how I didn't pick up on it is ridiculous to me. Anyway, the puppeteering didn't work, right? So this person, I mean, Nine of Swords is very like anxious. It's very being kept up at night. It's having anxiety or depression, or acknowledging that you have those things. It's the realization actually that there was something missing in this person's life. And I think that because this is a person who wears masks, in order to mask the realization of that emptiness, the way they will cope was to say, you're all fucking dead to me anyway, God, and to find a new group to do this to, a new group to have power over, status within, and to like try and puppeteer for their own benefit, who probably eventually will have people in the group that reject them all over again, and they'll move on and they'll move on. Because sadly, that is the curse of somebody with these kinds of personality traits, is that even if their schemes work in the short term, I can tell you from being around one of them for 36 years, they never really find friends, or they never have friends or lovers or family or anything that they can truly come to, that they don't then talk shit about in order to gain power or supply or whatever. So like they never find, again with the home and sanctuary reading, they never find sanctuary anywhere. They never find rest, which is again a Nine of Swords thing, because they're constantly trying to see where they can have advantage. So nobody means enough to them that they act with complete integrity, where they're not bad mouthing, they're not in a kiss and tell energy, they're not in a I would screw you over in a second type vibe. So they never really, like, that's part of why they stay lost. It's part of why they feel a void, because they don't know how to have interactions that are just like, hey, I like you, do you like me? Yeah, let's do fun shit and be wholesome. Right? They don't work that way. For some of you, this person has like a fringe over their eyes, and there's a thing, take it as it resonates, because that won't apply to everyone, but there's a thing I was watching about narcissist and facial characteristics, and there being stuff about eyebrows in there. And actually, I've bleached my eyebrows before this. I can assure you I'm not a narcissist, but it's like another confirmation of that, like, there's something about keeping the eyes, the brows, that bit of the face unseen, so they can do shady shit and you won't see it in their eyes or whatever. Like, it's a bit... And actually, the person that made me think of all of this, I hope this is okay to say, but the person that set all of this off in the earlier thing has a fringe over their eyes as an imitation of a photograph of me that was taken many, many years ago and sent to someone that we both know. And again, it's like that since they got that, and since they started to like emulate other people and be in this weirder energy from having kind of other more normal hair, it's like the hiding is more sneaky energy. It's very like, I don't know, this may not resonate at all. Your person could be entirely bald with no eyebrows. That's fine too. General reading, broad spectrum of people watching, may resonate for some, not for others. But for some of you, that is like you needed a final confirmation from me as to who this is that you're thinking about, because you don't want to think ill of people. And I love you for that. And that's a really lovely energy to be in. And I would encourage it, right? This is why I don't like doing these kinds of readings, because I don't like talking shit about people. But, you know, if you didn't want to suspect somebody and I'm describing them to a T, that's your person, right? And that will tell you who the group are that they tried to do this through, who your group are, who this person is that they have a thing for, or a need to control or whatever. And hopefully it'll all be useful to you. I'm going to wrap it up there because we did get a Jerry's final thought. Man, that was a long one. I do apologise. If it was useful to you, please like, please subscribe and ding the dong, because multiple videos are going out in a day at the moment. There are some days I'm not uploading anything because of health stuff that's going on with me. And then there's other days that I'm sending out like 3, 4, 5 readings, so that by the end of October, we will have had 31 readings. Because for the most part, I've been able to put out one a day, but I don't know whether you saw the update a bit back on my What You Need to Know reading, but there was a patch in hospital and I was like, shit, I can't put out October readings right now. So I've kind of made up for it, which means that if you're subscribed, you may miss like 2 or 3 readings from me in a given day, unless you've hit the bell. Also, share like mad. Share with anyone that you think would enjoy tarot, would enjoy me, would enjoy very in-depth explorations of the labyrinth and dark crystal for some reason, would enjoy talk about magical self-defense, would enjoy talk about magical paradigms in general, right? She says, showing off various occult tattoos. And yeah, I hope that in clarifying this situation, I haven't unnerved you so much as shown you something that could have happened that you've avoided, and well done you, because you did kind of follow your instincts, or you were buffered by spirit on that, so as to illuminate it so that you can prevent anything bad from happening again. This isn't your like, I don't want you to be in this like final destination mindset where the energy of this person is like stalking you, and it's like, are they in a mirror? Are they going to do this thing? Are they hanging over this friend? Because that is the worst thing that somebody with this kind of personality can do to you. Again, speaking from experience, from much earlier experiences. I don't want to put you in that place. What I instead want you to feel is that this person's end game is really a bit silly. The way they've been going about all of this, sorry, has been less than clever and entirely self-oriented, and has also illuminated for you who your friends are, the kinds of people you want to be around, who this like Ludo friend energy is for you, possibly, who has your back, and what to look for in other people versus what not to look for in the future, in a way that will mean you only have positive motherfuckers allowed in the room. Take care, gang. I'll see you later.